Good evening and welcome to the channel. In tonight's episode, I'm in the kitchen and I'm canning. If you like to see what I'm canning tonight, stay tuned. My mother's friend gave her some mystery fish. I have no idea what kind of fish this is. All I know is that it is white and it has some serious bones in it. My mom said to me that she thinks this is buffalo fish. I have never heard of such a thing. So I'm going to do my best to can this fish. So let's see. First, I'm going to take, I just put this glove on, but I'm going to take it off. I'm right-handed and I need to use my right hand. So let me start there. Now that I've swapped this glove to the opposite hand, I'm going to use my right hand to cut this fish. I hope you guys can see. I'm trying not to make a huge mess everywhere. I'm just going to cut these fillets in half. I was told they were filleted. When I opened up this bag, I was quite surprised at the fact that it had such a big bone. These are some serious ribs. I hope you guys can hear how I'm cutting through this and how it sounds like I'm cutting through something that's not fish. But she tells me it's fish, but she can't tell me what kind of fish it is. She forgot. So I'm going to can this. You can fish. If you look in the Fall Blue Book of Preserving, it does tell you about canning fish. And you can, it says at the top of the page, it talks about all fish. It talks about salmon and tuna. So I am just going to can this as all fish. I don't have the book in front of me, but I will put the page number in the description box below and some brief information on canning fish. So I'm going to cut this mystery fish and then I'll be back. I have this mystery fish cut up and I really wish I knew what kind of fish this was because these bones are really big. I've never seen fish with bones, and I'm going to show you. Let me put a fresh glove on. That's not really a good example. I probably put them towards the bottom because the bigger pieces, maybe, I hope you guys can see. Can you see this right here? That piece, that's a bone. And to me, that's a really big bone. I've never seen a bone that big in a fish. Do you see that? I told my mom to ask her friend, you know, what kind of fish this is because whoever filleted this, I'm not a professional filleter, but I feel like they did a really poor job. It's very strange, but I am going to can it. So here is a half pint jar. And I had a piece of fish in here and I decided to cut it up. So I'm putting fish back in it. I'm trying to, and what you're supposed to do is make sure that the fish does not go past your 1-inch headspace. So I'm going to have to cut this again because it is still too big. Pieces are too big, I'm thinking. So what I do is I just place my pieces of fish inside of the jar. I pack them in like so. And I'm trying to be careful because, like I said, this fish has bones, and these are some pretty hefty sized bones. So I am going to see if I can get one more piece of fish in here. There we go. I'm just packing it in like that. So I'm going to finish packing all of these jars and then I'll be right back. I ended up with 9 jars of fish, and these are half pints. Now, this is not necessarily a FDA recommended canning video because there's bones in this fish. But back in the day, and I do understand that things change. However, when you receive something and you're trying to put up food, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Take the food. And so I did not realize until I opened up the bag that this fish had bones. So I looked it up, and back in the day, they would put vinegar and ketchup in their cans, their jars for canning. So I'm going to put some vinegar. I'm not going to put any ketchup because I don't have any ketchup. I don't buy it. I don't eat it. And the purpose of the vinegar is to soften the bones. The purpose of the ketchup, from what I understand, is to not necessarily preserve, but to season. I could have that part wrong because I stopped listening when they say ketchup. And I'm also going to put some salt. Make sure I have enough. And when you're using salt, if you're new to canning, it's best that you use a non-iodized salt. What that means is salt with no iodine in it. This is a pink Himalayan salt. I only use pink Himalayan and sea salt. You also should put water in your jar. And this is going to be a bit difficult for me because you guys are a little close, but I'm going to pour some water to the 1-inch headspace into this jar. And I do apologize. I think I hit the camera, but I need to pour water in the jar. And then once you do that, you debubble. And I'm trying to pour and not splash because I already have enough cleanup. And I have jars everywhere. I've been canning and washing, and I've got jars that are drying, so I do not want to splash fish juice on my clean jars because I just clean those and put those up there to dry. So water in the jars, and then I am totally making a mess here. I'm gonna have to cross over you guys for this one. I do apologize. That's the nature of canning. Sometimes you gotta reach for it. All right, now that's water. Now you need to debubble your jars to make sure that there are no air bubbles in your jar. Now I do have a debubbling tool. However, I think what I'm going to use, which might be a little easier for me, well, this already has salt on it, so I'll just go ahead and see if I can use it. I'm just going to stick the tool down in the jars, and I'm going to have to get another glove and fix that bone. But you want to try and get any bubbles out. Bubbles are not your friends when you are canning. That could cause bacteria and germs to hide in that space. It's possible that your jar may not seal, so you want to get all the bubbles out. So while I debubble, I will turn this off because if you've seen this before, you don't need to see it again. And if you're new to my channel, you just saw me debubble a couple of jars. And so you can pretty much guess how debubbling goes. So I'll be right once you've debubbled. If your water level has dropped below a 1-inch headspace, you just top off your jars. Now, the one thing I did not mention to you all is if your fish has skin, you need to make sure that your skin is facing the outside of the jar. It needs to be up against the glass. Now that I have all of my jars debubbled, I am going to use some white vinegar. I have some white vinegar off to the side. So I'm going to put that on a paper towel And I'm knocking you guys up around and around and up and down. I do apologize. I hit my camera. So you just take your towel, whatever kind of towel it is, and you make sure that you get any debris. I used salt. I used water. And I did slop a little fish grease down there towards the back on my drying rack. And so I had to use a little paper towel down there to wipe that up. But you wipe off your rims. You want to make sure that you do not have anything on your rim that could prevent your rims from sealing. You don't want to go through all of this work just to find out that your jars don't seal. Then you end up with food in the refrigerator. And if you happen to have a power outage, then your food spoils if you cannot eat it in time. So I am just cleaning off the rims. And I know I made a mess with salt because I can see salt on the cooling pad. So I want to make sure that I get all of this. Now I probably over salted this, but like I said, I don't know what kind of fish this is. And I'm just doing the best I can here. Doing the best I can. I'm concerned. All right, now I do have a couple of pieces that have come up a little bit. So I want to make sure that I push those down. You want to make sure that you have it at a 1-inch headspace. And if you have more fish than your jar can handle, it's best to take it out of the jar and create another one. And if you hear any banging around in the background, I do apologize. My dog has been very fussy today. So she's kicking at the kennel door as she's trying to open it. Okay, now I'm going to wipe that rim one more time, only because I want to make sure that I don't have anything. I'm just going to get some white vinegar. I took my glove off. There we go. White vinegar. I don't want any fish juice, any salt on my rims. I've worked really hard on this today, making sure it was clean, making sure it was cut, making sure all my jars were clean, all my tools were clean. I do not want to miss this opportunity of food that was given to me. All right, now that that's done, you take your lids. My lids are all new. I just pull them out of the box. I clean, well, not just, I've cleaned them. My rings are clean. This one is rusty. It sat too long. I'm going to have to use another one. So let me put that one to the side. I have to clean that one again. Clean your rings, clean your lids, fingertip tight. Just like so. And while I put the lids and rings on, I'll be right back. Off camera, I took a little barkeeper's friend and cleaned off the rim of that canning ring. So that one is good to go. I will use it some other time. So I'm just putting the rest of my lids on. And I thought I told you I'd be right back. So I'll be right back. Now that I have all of the jars closed, it's time to get them in the canner. The canner has 4 quarts of water. When you are processing fish, you need to make sure you have 1 quart of water extra or over the amount of water your canner takes when you're canning something other than fish. My vent pipe has been peered into. You can see straight through it. My locking valve has been checked. It's tight. If you don't check your locking valve right here to make sure it's tight, your canner won't close. My gasket has been oiled, so my lid is ready to go. I have 4 quarts of water. I also have vinegar in my canner. Now these are half pints. The canner is cold. The fish is cold. So it's okay if I put it in here with my hands. So I'm just going to add this fish into the canner. Let me show you a better vantage point so you all can see what's going on in this canner. And I'm really hoping I can get all these jars in here. If not, I'm going to have to go get, I'm going to have to go get my other canner and load this water into it. This is my 16 quart canner, and I might be able, I can double stack. I can double stack these. So let me get another tray and I will double stack this. I can double stack that. So let me do that and I'll be right back. All right, I'd already pulled out my 23 quart just in case, and it was ready to rock and roll. So if you're double stacking, you have to make sure that you have a tray on top or something to keep your jars that you're stacking off of the jars that are on the bottom. So it's not going to fall over, it's not going to bump into anything, so that'll be fine. I put my lid on. Like I said, my camera is cold. And I always have a problem getting my lid on. I don't know why. What I do? There we are. And that went on real smooth. And so now I'm going to turn on my canner, bring it up to pressure. I'm not going to show you all me bringing it up to pressure because you've seen that before. And if you're new to my channel, what I'd like for you to do, this is going to be an assignment. Go back and look at any of my canning videos in my playlist. I show you a step by step. So if you're new, that's the assignment for today. So I'm going to bring this up to pressure. And when I do that, what that means is it's going to heat up. This is going to steam. Once it steams for 10 minutes, I will put the rocker on. This will pop up as well while it's steaming. Once the rocker starts to rock, once the rocker starts to rock, I will begin to time it for 100 minutes. Fish has to can for 100 minutes. That's why you need an extra quart of water. So let's get started. And again, if you're new to the channel and you've never seen me can before, you guys have an assignment. Let's get started. It is very early in the morning. I'm trying to whisper because the house is asleep. And I need to get my fish out of my canner. I actually dozed off, so this has been sitting here for quite some time. So I'm just going to take off the lid. And again, I do apologize. I hope you all can hear me. It is after 5 in the morning. And I don't want to wake up the household. So I'm just going to get my fish out. Let me get a hot mitt. That's the one drawback of canning late at night. But I got this fish relatively late, and it was frozen. So I really wanted to process it. I didn't want to put it back in the freezer. So that's the fish, or whatever this is. I think it's I don't. My mom and I were laughing. I said, "Is that stingray?" Okay, let's see if I can get this out of here without getting a fork or something. This water is still very hot. I think I might have to get a fork. Let me get a fork. 1 second, everybody. And again, I do hope you can hear me. I do apologize. I don't want to make too much noise. It would not be appreciated. Okay. So I'm going to just put that in the sink, nice and quiet. As quiet as I can. Put the fork in there. Even the dog is up. When I move, the dog moves. That should be a song. Okay, let me get this out of here because I need to take care of her right quick. But this is what the jars are still very hot, and I do apologize. I know I probably turned that other jar to the side, which is something I try not to do. It's important not to turn your jars in any way because you could break the possible seal that you would have by doing that, by getting the contents from up under your jars under your lid. So I'm just going to get these out of here. Again, they've been sitting in here for quite some time. I dozed off. I just woke up. You know how you wake up with a fright, like there's something that you need to do. I knew I turned the stove off, so there was no fear that my canner was being run dry. But all right, now there's tons of water on the top of these jars. Do not worry about the water on your jars. That will evaporate. And I see a lot of people dipping or turning their jars. It's best not to do that. You do not want to break your seal. You do not want to force food from up under that lid. So just leave it and it will evaporate. And if you really have a problem with it, get a paper towel and just blot it off. All right, I do have some siphoning. What I think is this, whatever this is, this stingray, this shark, I think that it forced liquid out because it produced its own liquid. But I was not sure what this was. And unlike salmon that I don't put any liquid in, let me turn you guys around. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I don't put any liquid in salmon, so I think that this might have produced some liquid. Some of the lids were a little loose. I want to make sure that I tighten those up a little bit. I don't want these to not seal. I want to make sure that these rings, I'm sorry, not lids, I want to make sure that these rings are tighter. It appears that they sealed, but I just want to make sure. And I can see that that one has some schmutz on the top, so I do believe that one indeed has that one has siphoned. Let me get another mitt because I put a Tattler lid on one of these jars because I want to taste whatever this is, see if we even like it. So I do have a Tattler lid on here, and I want to make sure that these lids are on here and that they seal. Like I said, it appears, and I do apologize, I really hope you guys can hear me. It appears they're sealed, but I don't want to tap them and mess around with them. So this is it for me this morning, everybody. I want to say thank you very much for joining me on canning this mystery fish. I do hope that the vinegar that I put in there is not going to change the taste of whatever this is. I hope this is tasty. So until I see you all either in my kitchen or my garden real soon, you all have a nice good morning, good night, good evening. Like I said, it's after 5 in the morning here, so I'm going to go back to bed. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now. There does appear to be siphoning.